All right, coming up on CU Sports Mag, we've got a few tips for the volleyball team.
And CU versus Florida State, this is kind of how the whole game went for the Buffs, unfortunately.
Although things did go a little better for the soccer team at home in Boulder this week.
And for the women's golf team.
And it's time to feel the burn. CU Sports Mag.
Hello and welcome to CU Sports Mag. I'm Amanda Blackwell, sitting alongside Kelly Samariva, and it's finally October, which means we are right in the middle of football season.
Indeed we are, and we've got some awesome highlights from the Florida State game. Let's just get right to them. Alrighty, Florida State versus Colorado, where they run out a horse named Renegade instead of a buffalo named Ralphie. We all remember the last time that CU played them, Little Ugly. Florida routed the Buffs 70-3. Let's pick up the action in the second quarter. 2nd and 15, pass goes to Antoine Smith, who's going the distance. Is he going where I think he's going with those CU defenders nearby? Yeah, that's the end zone. A 60-yard rush for the touchdown. Florida takes a lead 14-7.
And that's not exactly a good way to start off the highlights, but never fear, the trusty J-Fly, oh no, Josh Smith bobbles it, and is taken down on the 4-yard line to set up the next play, and it doesn't look good for the Buffs. Matt DeLallo standing about as far back in the end zone as he could possibly be, and who didn't see that coming? FSU records the safety and leads 16-7.
All right, here's the man they like to call Speedy, and I believe he's showing us why right here. Rod Stewart on the first down after the handoff from Cody Hawkins. Next play on the drive to finish it, little pass to Ryer Gear in the end zone, little 2-yarder worth 7 points after Eric Goodman's kick.
And oh boy, here we go again. Michael Garvin takes the ball 94 yards into the end zone for yet another Florida State touchdown. That'll take a little more air out of the Buffs' already leaky tires, and I'm going to guess this little celebration at the end doesn't make them feel a whole lot better about their lives right now. But we're not going to let you walk away sad and depressed, so here's a Cody Hawkins to Patrick Devaney touchdown. The final score of this one was 21-39. Take a look at the statistics. Rodney Stewart was really the star of this game for CU. 21 carries, 107 yards.
No surprise there. He's been really strong.
Yep, and Cody Hawkins, not his strongest game, but we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. Let's send it over to Kevin Rash and Russell Cunningham at the double team set.
Yep, some more football talk. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, guys, and welcome to this week's edition of double team. I almost said special teams, which we'll be talking about soon. But Russell Cunningham, Kevin Rash, and let's get things started right now. But before we get to the special teams, let's talk about Cody Hawkins in the game he had.
So we went down to Jacksonville, Florida to play FSU, and everybody was so excited because we squeaked out a game against West Virginia. And then what happens? We completely blow the game. Cody Hawkins looked like a deer in the headlights this week. He could not make passes that were wide open. He missed three wide open players and just completely misled the offense. He was not adequate. He was not good. He was horrible. He could not make a pass. He had no presence in the pocket. I felt like every time he was dropping back, it was either going to be an interception or incompletion because he had no reins on the offense.
He was 17 of 36 for 154 yards, which Anton Smith, Florida State, the running back, had just as many yards rushing as Cody had passing, and that cannot happen.
That's not good.
And he only averaged 4.3 yards per pass completed, 4 for 15 on third down conversions. That's not going to get done. I know Florida State has speed, but we got to play better than that.
I know. I mean, Cody Hawkins, this is the big time now. We're in Division I football. This isn't intramurals, brother. And we got to play well. We cannot do this where we're just floundering in big games. I felt like this was Alabama all over again. It had to wait until the fourth quarter before he looked like he had just a little bit of composure. Not much, a little bit. And by then the game was all out of line. But you know what happened in the game? Our special teams were horrendous.
Not so special
Not
teams.
so special teams at all. It was horrible. I feel like I'm on grind my gears with Peter Griffin right now because they're just horrible. Look at this. Eric Goodman, I just got a scholarship, and I'm going to shake it.
It's like a
because
27-yard field goal.
Kick.
Yeah.
Horrendous.
And that's not the only thing.
Take him off scholarship.
Okay. On kick returns, punt returns, 40 yards per average per return. Look at this. Microwave Garvin, I admit, yeah, he's fast. He's an Olympic trials athlete.
Speed is not everything, though. You have to have contain. Yeah. You have to be in your lanes. You cannot over pursuit. That's just simple coaching right there.
But I thought the biggest play of the game was this kickoff to J-Fly, who still is on a high from the Colorado State game.
Fast. Oh, yeah. I can't catch the ball.
Drops the ball. Oh wait, no. Let's run backwards and lose more yards. Gives our offense, no room.
Not good at all. So this sets up where it's 4th down now because we couldn't move the ball out of the end zone, and we get a safety because it's blocked. Special teams gave up 17 points this week. Absolutely horrendous, not good. Our special teams killed us. We could not get any momentum. Anytime we had momentum, we punched the harp seal that was momentum and completely sucked.
I mean, well, our special teams is going to have to play way better against Texas this week, and Texas is 10 times better than Florida State. So if you thought Florida State was good, Texas is going to be just amazing.
Texas is scary. They're ranked number 5 in the nation right now. Some say they haven't played people. I think it's just they're getting warmed up. I think Colt McCoy is where that offense starts and stops and goes anywhere else. Colt McCoy is money. He is rushing. He is passing. He's playing great. He has 15 touchdowns, 1 INT. He's looking good.
1,018 yards passing, but 268 yards rushing. And he leads the team, 8.2 yards per carry, in addition to 4 touchdowns on the ground. Ridiculous. And you have to stop him to stop the offense.
You know what's scary is the Texas coach, when Colt McCoy took over his freshman year and didn't have that good of a year, but was still there. When Colt McCoy took over, coach said, hey, this guy's better than Vince Young in running the spread offense. That's scary because Vince Young had a few good days at Texas.
But we know Texas is good, and we know they have athletes. But my freshman year, we got stomped by Texas in the Big 12 title game. I'm sure most of you remember this, 70-3. They didn't let up the whole game. We also lost them earlier in the season, 42-17. And this week, I caught up with some of the seniors, like Ryan Walters, who are on the team, and they said they still remember it. They have it in their mindset that they killed us, and they want to take it to Texas, and they think they can.
I think you're right, and I think that in order for the Buffaloes to have any prayer at all to be in this football game, they're going to need to run the ball. They're going to need to control the ball. They're going to need to run it with Rodney Stewart, and they're going to need to run it with the 5-star recruit, Darryl Scott. He needs to have a game this week. I think if they have possession, they don't make Cody Hawkins make too many plays, they could have a chance to win. But, you know, I don't know. I think it's sketchy at best. I think that's all the time we have here today, though. We can rant with you later, and let's send it back to the desk.
All right, well, thanks, guys. After last week's loss to Florida State, and with Texas just around the corner, the Buffs have little time to dwell on the past. For players like Darryl Scott, this is the first encounter with the Longhorns. Others still remember the 2005 season where Texas dominated the Buffs 70-3. As this year's players know, they must put the past behind them and focus on this year's battle in Boulder.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm just really happy we've had a pretty good week of practice and everything's clicking. We're focused, and I think we're ready.
It's 3 years ago, man. I remember the game. I remember what happened, but it doesn't affect how we operate today. So I'm just working on little things, man. The details. Really felt like we had an opportunity to make some plays here and there in that game last week that we didn't capitalize on.
Just come out each week and do the same thing every day, for each week, and just treat every team the exact same way. So, no one's better than anybody else. No one's, worse than anybody else. So you just got to come out and prepare for yourself.
Sophomore right tackle Ryan Miller is out for the season after fracturing his left leg during the game against Florida State last Saturday. The 2007 5-star recruit out of Columbine High School in Littleton will likely undergo surgery this week. CU is hoping that Miller will be granted a medical hardship waiver by the NCAA for the 2008 season, gaining an extra year of eligibility. Miller will be replaced by Matt Barr, a freshman who will be making his career debut against the Texas Longhorns on Saturday.
Okay, well, coming up after the break, we have a very special guest in the studio. I'm pretty excited about that one.
You will never guess who that is, and we've got video from the volleyball team. Stay tuned.
We sing for millions of girls, but helping out in schools, that's the real deal, baby.
Control room. Control room.
I know
Dexter's Laboratory
can multiply, 'cause you're the X and I'm the Y.
I'm the cute one, you know what I'm saying? So, have you ever been backstage before?
Okay, guys, this is an abacus, an old school calculator. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Like the circle and the square, our geometry is a perfect pair.
Now, why should kids know about gravity?
Well, gravity holds them down.
I once was one, but now we're two.
I'm spinning out of control.
All right, and now joining us in the studio is a very special guest.
Yes, we've got Adam McPherson and George Hippolyte over on the interview studio.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm Adam McPherson. Pleasure to be joined by George Hippolyte. George, thanks for stopping by today.
Anytime.
So I want to talk about, so far, 3-1 season. Not too bad. I want to first talk about the first 3 games. What kind of preparation did you guys have? What were you guys doing that made you so successful right off the bat?
Sometimes it's a combination of buying into things and schemes and game plans and matchups. There's a lot of different things that go into it. I think that in the first 3 weeks we did a really good job. We kind of had 2 weeks to prepare for 2 of the teams, and then we had to prepare for Eastern Washington in about 4 days, which is not normally. Normally we get 6 to 7 days to prepare for a team. But, we really battled, and we got through those first three games pretty well, and we played pretty well. But, unfortunately, we got snake bitten a little bit in the last one.
Yeah, and then Florida State, let's talk about that for a little bit. I mean, you guys, had the momentum going into the game. Obviously, Florida State, a very solid football team. What were some of the things that maybe they were doing, you weren't doing, that kind of swung that a little bit?
It kind of just comes down to, there were some situations where there's some one-on-one matchups and some things that, they did and they made plays and we didn't. The game wasn't really that complicated from that sense. No one really dominated anyone. There were times where we played really, really well, and there were times that they played really, really well. What it came down to, there were a couple times where, on defense we didn't fit up right. They, made us, the first drive, the last drive, and, they made us pay for it. And on offense, we kind of gave them the ball a little bit. But, things like that happen in a game, Generally, that's what against 2 close teams who are pretty evenly matched, it's going to come down to, can you make the play or can't you make the play? In our first 3 games, we seemed to make the plays when we needed to, and in that game, unfortunately, we didn't.
Look, putting that kind of stuff behind you, because I know you like putting it behind, moving on to the next week. Obviously, you're playing the Texas Longhorns. Now, last time was 2005, rough game against them. What have you thought about that game at all?
Not really. 2005 was 3 years ago now. And you don't want to dwell on the past, or otherwise you'll become it. So, you kind of try to move on. There's a lesson learned that, if you don't prepare properly for a team and, you don't give them the respect they deserve, things like that happen. That game was just a really weird game. It's kind of like the perfect storm. They played as good as they could play on offense, as good as they could play on defense, and as good as they could play on special teams. They scored 10 touchdowns. That's not very, that's not crazy. That doesn't happen by accident. So I think it was a little bit of, they were unbelievably prepared and hitting on all cylinders, and we weren't. Mm-hmm. And with a team that has 24 guys who are currently playing in the NFL, things like that'll happen.
Looking at Texas and looking at the things they do, and you were saying they don't do a lot of things, but the things they do, they do well. How are you guys preparing for that?
Just like we prepare for any other team, I think that unlike, most weeks, these guys have some very big tendencies, and, when they line up in certain formations, what they're going to do. It's just, can you stop it? I think that, the biggest thing is, in games like this, you have to work on execution. Tackling when you get there, catching the ball when you can, things like that. You don't really have to, necessarily prepare for an entire scheme or game plan or say, oh my God, we have to make sure we run this coverage and that play. We really don't have to worry about things like that. More importantly, we have to worry about, number one, tackling, making sure we put pressure on the quarterback, stopping the run, playing blocks with the right technique, details like that.
And we've heard you say almost week in and week out, I'm not looking a couple weeks ahead. Next week is Texas Longhorn. Is it really that easy for you just to say, I can't look down the road, I've got to stay focused on this game?
For me personally, I'm just really locked into it. I was really blessed to come from the kind of program and system where that's what we did, and that's what I'm used to. So it's really the only thing I know. For a lot of players, it is very difficult, especially when you have family coming to games and things like that. And there are other aspects that creep in from your personal life and onto the football field. For me, I just, that's just the way I am. You really can't worry about the next game if you don't take care of what's in front of you, because that's really all we have promised as football players. What people, really don't have a conception of, but what we do is we're all one play away. Mm-hmm. One play away from never playing this game again. So you don't want to worry about things you can't control. All you can control is how you prepare this week and how you play on Saturday.
Well, thank you so much for what you've done in the community for the football team. Thank you, obviously, for stopping by today. We really appreciate your time. Again, I'm Adam McPherson with George Hippolyte. Guys, back to you.
And if you'd like to see the full interview, visit www.sportsmag.colorado.edu and click on the videos link. The CU volleyball team defeated Texas A&M on Saturday night at the Coors Event Center. After an 0-2 start, the Buffaloes fought their way back, taking the match in 5 sets. Alex Booth had a career-high 26 kills and recorded her 20th career double-double. This was an important win for the Buffs, who lost to the Aggies twice last year. Going into the match against Baylor, the Buffaloes were 8-4 overall and 2-1 in the Big 12.
The CU women's volleyball team continued its early struggles on the road in conference play this season. This past Wednesday night in Waco, Texas, the Buffs fell to the Baylor Bears 3-0, losing 25-10, 25-14, and 25-13. That's not good. In their 2 road games within the Big 12 thus far, the Buffs have lost all 6 games played and haven't tallied more than 19 points in a single game. However, there was one lone bright spot for CU, and that was senior outside hitter Amber Sutherland. Amber became just the 13th Buff in CU history to reach the 1,000 kill milestone, kill as in spiking the ball. The Buffs are now 8-5 overall and are 2-2 in the Big 12, with the number 2 ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers coming into town this Saturday.
Well, thanks for clarifying the definition of kill there, Kelly. Colorado and Texas both have live mascots. Texas has Bevo, and Colorado, of course, has Ralphie. Besides the buffalo, what other animals have CU tried running onto the field before a football game? That's your trivia question, and the answer will be a little bit later in the show.
Here at SportsMag, we follow all Colorado sports, but we weren't so sure if other CU students did. So our man on the street, Luke Rosenmeyer, went to find out.
Hi, I'm Luke Rosenmeyer, CU Sports Mag's man on the street. We know a lot of students know a lot about the football team, but we're wondering if any of them know anything about CU's other sports teams, so that's what we're here to find out this week.
Right now we're 3-1.
I have no idea.
3-1.
For this season?
Yeah.
2-1.
I'm gonna go with Daryl Scott, but I have no idea.
One of the freshman kids, right?
Stewart. It's not Daryl Scott, it's Stewart.
It's not soccer season. Trick question.
18.
Top 20? 45. I don't know.
Heard we're pretty good. 10th maybe? 9th?
18?
I don't know, dude.
She must play soccer.
The founder of the girls rugby team.
A volleyball player? No, I have no idea.
I thought that was a winter sport. I don't know.
No, 1 and 3?
I don't know, 10 and 2.
No idea.
2 and 5.
7 and 9.
I'm Luke Rosenmeyer from CU Sports Mag, and apparently not very many people know much about the football team, in addition to not knowing much about our other teams. So let's send it back to the desk.
Well, I think it's safe to say that it's good CU Sports Mag's here is to fill you guys in on some of the teams that may not make ESPN or shows like that every day.
Yes, makes us feel very important that we can share those things. But coming up next, after the break, we're going to reveal the Athlete of the Week.
Someone once said, we all come into this world alone. And we leave the same way. But in between, we have the chance to connect and help each other. To find ways you can do something to connect with the people in your community, call the Points of Light Foundation at 1-800-VOLUNTEER. Volunteer. Get connected.
It's my birthday. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, I told you, don't be bringing that weak stuff in here. Yeah. Who's the man? Who's the man?
Exercised lately?
The CU women's soccer team faced off against Big 12 rival Oklahoma in Boulder on Friday. The Buffaloes came out hot from the start as Gianna DeSaverio scored twice in the first 13 minutes. Colorado controlled possession for the entire match and outshot the Sooners 27-4. CU struck again 15 minutes after the half as Kelly Butler blasted a left-footed shot past the Oklahoma goalkeeper. The Buffs closed the game out with 2 goals from sophomore forward Mel Hicks within the final 10 minutes, making the final score 5-0. Colorado's convincing win against the Sooners puts their record at 8-1-1 overall and 2-0 in the Big 12.
After beating the Oklahoma Sooners on Friday, the Lady Buffs soccer team tied the Cowgirls from Oklahoma State this past Sunday at Pretnup Field 1-1. Number 12 ranked OSU struck first with a goal 7 minutes into the game. The 18th ranked Buffs responded less than 3 minutes later when senior Gianna DiSeverio followed up a deflected shot by junior forward Nikki Marshall to knot up the score. It was DiSeverio's 5th goal of the season and her 3rd in the last 2 games. DiSeverio nearly won the game for CU in overtime, but her sliding shot off another Nikki Marshall pass went just wide of the net. The Buffs are hitting the road this weekend and will play 2 more Big 12 rivals. First up is Missouri on Friday, followed by Kansas on Sunday.
Gianna DiSeverio has been a cornerstone of the women's soccer team so far this season, and that's why she's CU Sports Mag's Athlete of the Week.
DiSeverio scored 3 goals in 2 games last weekend, scoring the first 2 in the 5-0 win over Oklahoma. She also struck in the tying goal in the 1-1 contest with number 12 Oklahoma State, which shattered the Lady Cowboys' 9-game win streak.
We're a lot more intense this year, we're a lot more focused, and I feel like we have a lot more leadership, which is really helping us out this year compared to last year. I would have to say the Oklahoma State game, even though we tied, just because everyone worked so hard and it was our most intense game yet, and I felt like we should have won, but I think the team played well. Everyone on the team is basically a leader, whether you're a freshman or a senior, so it's not too much responsibility, and whoever scores that game scores. There's not a lot of pressure. I mean, we have Nikki Marshall, who is known to score, and everyone else on the team is scoring a lot too. It's a lot more intense this season, and we're happier than we were last season. We feel like we shouldn't have tied Florida, and we definitely should have lost to DU, so there were some upsets that we think we could have done better. Very happy with our season so far, and we're hoping to get 2 wins this weekend. Hi, I'm Gianna DiSeverio. I'm CU Sports Mag Athlete of the Week.
Last Saturday, the Colorado men's golf team finished 4th at the 54th Annual University of New Mexico Invitational in Albuquerque. The Buffs finished the tournament with a team score of 868, 4 behind third-place finisher Pepperdine. UNLV won the event, beating host New Mexico by 11 strokes. However, the highlight of the event for the Buffs was senior Derek Tolan, who finished tied for first with Eddie Olson from UNLV with a score of 211. Other notables for CU are senior Patrick Grady and junior Luke Simons, who both finished 16th. This weekend, the Buffs will head to Chicago for a tournament hosted by Northwestern.
The women's golf team also had a successful weekend, finishing 3rd at the Heather Farr Memorial held in Broomfield. Though Coach Ann Kelly commented that the team had several unnecessary errors, she was overall still happy with the team's strong finish. It was a big day for the freshmen. Emily Childs finished 2nd place individually, and Emily Talley shot CU's best round of the day, including an eagle. The team will travel to Texas next week and is looking forward to playing on the Big 12 host course. And to open the varsity season, the CU cross country team will host the 23rd annual Rocky Mountain Showdown on Saturday at CU's South Campus. The showdown will be the first varsity team scoring meet of the season. The CU men are currently ranked 3rd in the national poll, and the women are ranked 23rd. CU men's team has won 18 of the last 22 shootout competitions and will be competing against other Division I schools, UNC, Wyoming, and Air Force. The Buffs will look for a strong performance from Olympian Jenny Behringer entering her final season as a Buff. Leading the team this weekend will be fellow Buffs junior Aylin Ryan and senior Chris Pannone, who were top finishers at the recent Iowa State Invitational.
All right, and coming up after the break, we have the top plays of the month of September.
Yes, so get ready for that. It's going to be pretty exciting.
Let's sit down for a second, okay? So
Hey, Kayla, there's Mary from your class.
Hi, Mary! Hi, Kayla! Come and play!
Oh, sweetie. Why don't you go play with those kids over there?
Imagine the power of one voice. Find yours at freedomcenter.org.
Well, we are officially a month into the fall sports season, and there have been plenty of sweet highlights to brag about for CU sports team, so let's take a look at some of the best of Boulder's finest for the month of September.
Those were your plays of the month, and here is your trivia answer. So in case you forgot, today's trivia question was, in light of Colorado and Texas both having live mascots, what other animals has CU tried running onto the field before a football game? And the answer, I love this answer, a mule, a goat, and a bulldog.
A bulldog? Really?
Apparently, yes.
Not quite as fast as Blackout, I don't think. Anyway, the CU Triathlon team is getting their year off to a running start with a 5K fundraiser.
Buffalo 5K race series. So it's going to be 4 5Ks every Thursday night on September 25th, October 2nd, October 9th, and October 16th. They are put on by the CU Triathlon team, and they're fundraisers so we can send people to different events throughout the year, like our national championship, which this year will be in Lubbock, Texas, and our regional championship, which will be in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. We're giving out these awesome t-shirts, for anybody signed up for at least 2 races in the series, or you can purchase them for $12. Our goal for this year is to make about $2,000 to send, and that'll send 2 people to a national championship race, and we're about a third of the way there. On the triathlon team, I've been on the tri team for about 3 years now, and I've been working for some other race directing companies, and so I'm helping the triathlon team put these races on.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us on CU Sports Mag.
Indeed it is. Thank you for watching the show today, and we hope you can get out and watch the Buffs this weekend.
Only you
can prevent forest fire.
And it's true. We know we can count on you to do what Sophie says.
drown your campfires with water. Make sure it's totally wet. Then stir and drown again.
We know we can count on you to do what Sophie says.
Only you can prevent forest fires.